Good evening. Hashtag my global family. I am Drea Beta, coyote walking in this world. Real life Isleta Pueblo superhero. Proud two-spirited indigenous warrior. And I'm calling you to church, family. Coyotes Lodge, House of Spirituality, Critical Race Theory, and Medical Marijuana is about to start our church service. It's been a really long time, family. It has been a long time since I've seen you in this space to work on our spiritual selves, right? And let's be honest, family. COVID has changed everything. The way I walk through this world, my worries, the lived realities of our communities. We're only starting to realize what is different now. Yami, as we gather today, allow our family to come together, to hear the sound of the drum, and to allow their hearts to be opened and their minds to be filled with healing, love, and support. Let's go to church, family. Good evening and happy Wednesday. Hashtag my global family. I am Drea Beta, coyote walking in this world, real life Isleta Pueblo superhero, proud two-spirited indigenous warrior. But family, 2 years ago, during COVID, my Gammy told me to raise a church. Which was crazy talk, family, crazy talk, because if you know me in real life, I'm about the most unreligious person you'll ever know. But that's okay, family, because my Gammy told me to raise a church based on indigenous knowledge, based on praying not to a God, not to a religion, but rather opening our minds, our hearts, and speaking truth to our ancestors, talking to those people who were real life superheroes to us when they were here on this plane and who now watch over us from above, family. Because this coyote is a zealot and I am a true believer on a mission from my ancestors to transform this world, and working on our minds and our bodies is important, but working on our spiritual souls is what keeps us going, family. I am a proud grandchild of many indigenous warriors, family, and they literally have given so many sacrifices so that we may still be here today. So, family, I listened to my Gammy and I created this online community and this spiritual safe for all of us to get to know ourselves, to start thinking through life differently, because as I said, family, COVID changed everything. So why not change the way that you think about spirituality? Which brings us to our guiding question for today, family. Our guiding question is just who is in charge of your spiritual self, family? As a survivor of rape and molestation as a ramification of Indian boarding schools, police brutality in 2008, a white male academic predator in 2018, and this coyote has faced police not once but twice in my role as a warrior, advocate, and international graduate student leader over the last 2 years, family. I have overcome mountains, monsters, and powers way bigger than this coyote. But you know what it is? I put myself in the hands of my Gammy and my ancestors, and somehow, family, I always end up in the right place at the right time. So, since I stopped going to church, right, and since I stopped going to organized religion, because at the early age, family, I was about the 8th grade, I stopped going because it didn't feed myself. I was watching these old white guys read from books and lecture me on how it was for me to be a human in this world. But, family, I was bisexual, And I had no place in the church. I had to learn how to hide in plain sight and to become normal, which was not humanizing to my spiritual self. And let's be honest, family, I spent the majority of my life not taking care of my spirit, thinking that the daily grind of US society and empire was what I needed in my life. But Gabby asked me something very, very important, family. She asked me, who is in charge of your spiritual self? Am I giving that power away to someone else? Am I asking for them to take care of my spirit? When really my Gabby reminded me that the only person in charge of my spirit was me, family. And that's one of the principles of the church that I currently am presiding over, family. Coyotes Lodge, House of Spirituality, Critical Race Theory, and Medical Marijuana. Critical race theory, family, because our readings come from our ancestors' words, from their experiences, and our knowledge is the canon of this church. Our lived experiences and the testimony straight from our ancestors is how we are going to nourish our spiritual selves, family. And Gammy says that's humanizing. Gammy says that's going to feed my spirit, family. And I'll be honest, in the last 2 years since I have embraced my traditional ways of knowing and being, embraced religious practices, because they are religious practices, family, like smudging, like reconnecting with the earth. It has helped me to be proud of my indigeneity, to be proud of my community, to walk the path of my ancestors' family with no regrets, because the only person in charge of my spirit is myself. Our parents, our grandparents, our ancestors, we are their hopes and dreams come flesh, family. So I am asking you, how much longer are you going to give your spiritual self away to other people? How much longer are you going to put your hope in a white God that does not love you, that does not care for you, and that will not solve your problems? Because I am here to remind you, family, that the only person in charge of your spiritual selves is you. And where did I come up with this crazy idea, family, right? We have hundreds of years of colonization and people telling you this is the religion that will save you. You must join my religion. Your religion is bad. Well, not in Coyotes Lodge, family. We take everybody and we love everybody equally. Because this is not about God. This is about creating community based on humanizing, loving action while learning about the experiences of the people who define resiliency in all of our communities. To hear the words of our elders, to understand how I, as a colonized person in 2022, still faces racism, even though I can pass as white. Who still has to fight for dignity and respect in communities of power that are supposed to be open to everyone, like the university, right? I am an educator, a community organizer for the last 15 years, family, but I have yet to find a humanizing space that will embrace me as a two-spirited, bisexual, PTSD, indigenous warrior on a mission to transform this world. I am too radical. I am too much for people, family. But that is because I am on a mission for my ancestors and I go where they lead me. So I'm asking you, family, when you open your ears, when you open your hearts, when you open your minds to them, where are they leading you? Where do they tell you you need to be? Because we need to return to our indigenous selves. Maybe if you're not indigenous, family, if you're a person of color, you are a white brother or sister, you are a Muslim brother and sister, you come from a different creed, country, language, or background, I ask you the same question, family. How do you rehumanize your identity? How do you find spaces to love yourself just as you are without having to twist yourself into a pretzel trying to conform to whatever normal is, family? Gary's asking you, what small steps can you take to reclaim your spiritual self? Maybe it's taking 5 minutes in the corner, family, to recharge your batteries. Maybe it's taking your bundle of sage and smudging yourself in the car during your smoke break. Whatever it is, family, I am here to remind you that you are beautiful, that you are wonderful, that you are perfectly amazing just as you are. And that the constructs of white supremacy, US empire, that this false society that is built on stolen indigenous land and the black and brown bodies of our brothers and sisters who were brought here in bondage, all of the minority ethnic groups in the United States that have been exploited to create this US empire of white supremacy. I am asking you, as a person of a marginalized identity, why do we continue to play the game? Why do we continue to beat our head against inhumane standards, family? For me to be judged as an indigenous person by white European standards is dehumanizing, unfair, and something that I will never accomplish because I am not a white person. So, family, you're asking, what does race have to do with my spirit? And I ask you, what does race have to do with your everyday interactions? How does the world see you, family? How many times have you been beaten down, what I call death by a million cuts because of microaggressions, because you don't quite fit, because they're not sure if you deserve to be in the position that you are, family? I am just saying, once we reclaim our identities with pride, once we recenter our spiritual selves and start measuring ourselves by not other standards that are dehumanizing, but rather by our own selves, our own communities, our own ways of being, which academics call ontologies and ontologies and epistemologies, family. But I am just saying, my message from my Gammy today is for you, yes, you, family, to reclaim your spiritual selves and to no longer give anyone else power over you. You are in charge of your spirit, family. And this is coming from the perspective as a colonized indigenous person who found religion ridiculous. I was a fifth grader, family, who found religion ridiculous. Because based on my family history, we have roots in Acoma, Isleta, and Laguna. And if you were Protestants, it was because this colonizer group came and conquered your Pueblo first. If you were Catholic, it's because the conquistadors came first. If you're in Utah, it's because the Mormons came. So I ask you, family, under such a construct that is defined by colonization, was meant to erase indigenous people from the face of this earth and turn us into white people or kill us to make way for white settlers, I'm asking you, how humanizing is it to embrace white man's religion? How humanizing is it to embrace something and tell other people that you're all wrong and I'm right because 300 years ago, a conquistador, a Mormon, or a Protestant came by and decided they were going to take over your Pueblo community? I'm asking you, family, 400 years later, why does that still make sense to people? So, I'm asking you, even if it's not this church here online every Wednesday where we work on our spiritual selves and we do readings from our ancestors, I'm asking you to decolonize. I'm asking you to take charge of your spiritual self and let yourself free, family. Once you realize the constructs that control your life and how dehumanizing it is to you, that is the first step to healing. That is the first step to us reclaiming an authentic idea, an authentic identity that is not marred by slavery, by colonization, by white supremacy of US empire. So family, join me in rewriting what's possible because COVID devastated our communities. It changed everything, family, and it is time that we reclaim our humanity. Now we're going to say a prayer, our opening prayer, family, to our ancestors and ask them for their guidance and blessings. This week's theme, family, is based on not only taking charge of our spiritual selves, but also the superpower of transformation. Don't forget to join us every weekday, family, for our daily prayer. Today, family, our daily prayer was all about mourning. It was about letting go, and it was about healing. So, family, I am asking you to join me. Cleanse your mind, cleanse your body, cleanse your space, and let go of what no longer serves you. Let it go out into the universe. Let all that pain, let that suffering, let all that doubt, let that anxiety, let everything that has been weighing you down, family, leave. Open a window. Go smudge, family, and open a window. And ask our ancestors to help you with resiliency, with a courageous heart, family, because the battle is never ending. We are the current and forever courageous warriors, fighting for all of our communities, fighting for their opportunities. I might not be fighting with literal weapons in my hands, family, but when I walk into spaces like academia, I wield my voice, and it is powerful, and it creates change. Policy, it gets funding, it gets events for my students, it gets resources to allow them to attend conferences. It even allows them to have a voice to speak out against people who have hurt them. So, family, join me in becoming powerful, in letting go what no longer serves us, and looking forward to the future with hope. Gammy, it's your favorite trickster coyote grandchild. I know. Try not to burn out of building. Just kidding, Gammy. You're watching over us. Gammy, I am here with my global family, and we have a very special prayer for you. Gammy, please, please take away the doubt. Take away the worry. Take away the pain, and allow our global family to embrace new opportunities, to think of the future that we have with each other once we deconstruct the barriers that we have in our life. Gammy, you were my first example of a warrior woman. She was fierce, family. Kind of scary. I'd say top 5 scaries. Scary ladies on the res. Just kidding. Sorry, Gammy, you know it's truth. But she was my favorite person. Don't tell anyone else. She would always make sure that this coyote felt loved and appreciated. And yeah, family, she spoiled me rotten. But Gammy, you instilled a sense of confidence in this little coyote in a world that did not love me. But that's okay, Gammy, because I'm asking you to send your courageous spirit out to our international family. May they have the courage and bravery to fight for their own battles. May they have the courage and bravery to take charge of their spiritual self, no matter their religion, belief system, or spirituality. Allow them to be the ones to decide how they feel, how their heart is filled, and what will happen in the future. Gammy, my first example of a warrior woman. Your ferocity made sure that all of your children were always safe. Send us your blessings and guidance as we continue to do honor to your memory and name. Papa. Now, my Papa family, he was the epitome of love and kindness. And he spoiled us, and he spoiled me. He always would take time out, family, to make my eggs just right, to sit me down and spend like 10-15 minutes and ask me how school was going. And I'd see him on his typewriter or reading his Reader's Digest. Those moments, family, were more precious than I can ever say in words. Papa, you were my example of the superpower of love. And during COVID, as all of our lives are still being affected, Papa, send us those people, send us those places, and send us those opportunities where we can find community and people to lift us up. And Papa, may we also be there to return the favor and help lift up our other community members. I hope the cable's good up there, Papa. I've been missing the games, but I've been thinking about you. Just kidding, family. I don't watch any games, but my Papa does. And to my great great grandfather, Pablo Beta, true revolutionary and Isleta public statesman. Dear sir, you wrangled with presidents and got 28,000 acres of our land back. I appreciate you, and I hope that you send your fighting spirit, your courageous and powerful voice, and your will to work against the system to provide safety and security for all of our family members. And to all of our aunties, uncles, gammies, cousins, and papas, everyone who has gone before us, those who are related to us by blood, and those that we have adopted in our hearts. We appreciate you and ask for your blessings and guidance. Family, we have done the opening sermon, which was, don't forget, family, you are the only one in charge of your spiritual selves. We have also done the opening prayer. So now, family, this is the Coyotes Lodge, House of Critical Race Theory. We work on our minds, and our text comes from the lived experiences of our ancestors, but we are also the House of Medical Marijuana. And family, this is a healing medicine that has helped this coyote be a superhero in real life. I have crippling anxiety, PTSD attacks, and wrangle and wrestle with depression. So getting up in the morning is sometimes a battle, family, and when it is really bad, I'm stuck in my room for 3 days. This medicine, marijuana, is one of the only things, other than my family, that have supported this coyote and have allowed me to continue to be an amazing superhero and international leader. So family, during our church services, I will take a ceremonial smoke out of my medication. But don't forget, this coyote is a medical marijuana researcher, activist, and spiritual leader. So I am medicated 100% of my waking hours. I no longer get a euphoric feeling, family, but rather it keeps me calm and helps me keep my food down. So help me in creating and embracing humanizing practices that will allow all of us to not only survive, but thrive. Gammy, this one's for you. Our first reading today, family, is always from one of my favorite editions, Native American Testimony. I did leave the information in the text, so please definitely look it up. We are going to be reflecting on the lived experiences of our ancestors, family. So please think about your parents. Think about your grandparents and your great-great-great-grandparents. Think about if you are here and indigenous to North or South America or Central America. Think about what your ancestors' lived experiences were truly like. Not the romanticized version of westward expansion, but actually what happened and how traumatizing it was and how difficult it was for us to survive in an empire that was trying to kill us. Keep your presence. A Pawnee, Curley Chief, recollects here a fellow tribesman's rejection of European wares. Actually, a federation of 4 Central Plains people, the hunting and farming Pawnee lived in large earth lodge villages along the Platte River in Nebraska. In the early decades of the 19th century, their lands lay in the path of American pioneers whose wagons were rolling towards the southwest. This contact with whites brought them social disillusion and disease. In 1875, the tribe was moved to northern Oklahoma. There is no record of which treaty session Curley Chief is remembering here. Please remember that, family. The indigenous people of North America, Central America, South America, we have all had very similar experiences. And when an empire or a conquering force comes in, we are overwhelmed. And many times there is genocide. Genocide happened regularly, family. This is a reminder that November is Native American Heritage Month. But during those genocides, when you lose your ancestral lands and you're forced to leave, women and children and elders died on these forced marches, family. Please look at the bloody history of the United States and find out the true cost of quote unquote American freedom. I heard that long ago there was a time when there was no people in this country except Indians. After that, the people began to hear of men that had white skins. They had been seen far to the east. Before I was born, they came out to our country and visited us. The man who came was from the government. He wanted to make a treaty with us and give us presents, blankets and guns, flint and steel and knives. The head chief told him we needed none of these things. He said we have our buffalo and our corn. These things the ruler gave to us. They are all we need. See this robe? It keeps me warm in winter. I need no blankets. The white men had with them some cattle, and the Pawnee chief said, lead out a heifer here on the prairie. They led her out, and the chief, stepping up to her, shot her behind the shoulders with an arrow. And she fell down and died. And then the chief said, will not my arrow kill? I do not need your guns. Then he took his stone knife and skinned the heifer and cut off a fat piece of meat. When he had done this, he said, why should I take your knives? The ruler has given me something to cut with. Then taking the fire sticks, he kindled a fire to roast the meat, and while it was cooking, he spoke again. You see, my brother, that the ruler has given us all that we need. I think of the translation, family, he means creator. The creator has given us all that we need, the buffalo for food and clothing, the corn to eat with our dried meat, bows, arrows, knives, and hoes, all of the implements with which we need for killing meat or for cultivating the ground. Now go back to the country from whence you came. We do not want your presence, and we do not want you to come to our country. Curley Chief, Pawnee. Family, this is an account of our actual ancestral leaders facing for the first time the government, the U.S. government. And I love it, family. I love it that it was a big to the government. Our chiefs, our people did not need their broken promises, their false shinies. We had our own ways of doing. We had our own ways of being in harmony with the land, in balance with the land. Think about our current society, family. How many earthquakes are happening in Texas because of fracking? How many cities have polluted water that literally turns on fire from the faucets? How many people in this country of modernity are dying because of the ecological disasters that we have created in the name of capitalism? I thank you, ancestors, for having the courage and the fortitude and the future, the understanding of what the future would be like. The understanding that we needed to reject what these white people were offering because what we had was better. What we had, it has been a losing battle since first contact, family. How do we re-indigenize? How do we rehumanize? How do we decolonize? The first step is always and forever understanding our history and lived experiences. Our second reading for tonight, family, is coming from the section called The Long Resistance. So this text, family, that I will use in church because it is a wonderful resource. It comes from this coyote's years at Dartmouth College in my Native American Studies undergrad degree family. But I would say that this should be on every bookshelf. If you would like to teach your children about our ancestral stories, about the main traumatic historical events that happened to our peoples, hearing firsthand accounts from our elders is absolutely a must and a resource that every family should have. We must be united. As after the colonies were free from England's domination, a remarkable Shawnee leader began rallying many of the same Indians who fought beside Potanic. His name was Cougar Crouching for his prey, or Tecumseh, and he had earned his warrior reputation fighting in the defeats of General Harmer at Fort Wayne, 1790, and General St. Clair on the Wabash River in 1791. Now, the enemy were the Americans who had settled along the Montcalm, Allegheny, and Ohio rivers. I'm sorry, family. I am going to do better with my pronunciation. Like Pontiac, too, Tecumseh's movement was furthered by a holy man, his brother, who was called the Prophet. Tecumseh envisioned a vast coalition of tribes who would fight to recover the Ohio Valley lands lost through a succession of dubious treaties negotiated by the wily American governor of the Indiana Territory, William Henry Harrison. So much of indigenous land, family, was lost through bogus treaty agreements in which the indigenous people always had huge losses. In 1810 to 11, Tecumseh traveled from the Great Lakes to the Gulf of Mexico, trying to elicit support for his cause. In the selection that follows, he is speaking to the Osage. Before returning from this trip, however, American troops found Tecumseh's stronghold known as Prophetstown, or the Tippecanoe River, and burned it to the ground. The great leader's gathering storm never broke. Tecumseh died in Canada on October 5th, 1813, fighting on the British side against his old adversary, William Henry Harrison, in the Battle of the Thames. And family, I would like to remind you that that is how U.S. empire deals with any spiritual, with any revolutionary, with any civil rights or human rights leaders who do not agree with them. They end up dead. When are we going to make reparations for the violent history of U.S. empire against our marginalized groups, family? Please definitely check out the Civil Rights Movement, Brown Berets, the Black Panthers, the AIM movement. Many leaders of all of our amazing communities were killed and murdered by the U.S. government. Brothers, we all belong to one family. We are all children of the Great Spirit. We walk in the same path, slake our thirst at the same spring, and now affairs of great concern lead us to smoke the pipe around the same council fire. Brothers, we are friends. We must assist each other to bear our burdens. The blood of many of our fathers and brothers has run like water on the ground to satisfy the avarice of white men. We ourselves are threatened with a great evil. Nothing will pacify them but the destruction of all red men. Brothers, when the white men first set foot on the grounds, they were hungry. They had no place in which to spread their blankets or to kindle their fires. They were feeble. They could do nothing for themselves. Our fathers commiserated their distress and shared freely with them whatever the Great Spirit had given to his red children. They gave them food when hungry, medicine when sick, spread skins for them to sleep on, and gave them grounds that they might hunt and raise corn. Brothers, the white people are like poisonous serpents. When chilled, they are feeble and harmless, but invigorate them with warmth, and they will sting their benefactors to death. The white people come among us feeble, and now we have made them strong. They wish to kill us or drive us back as they would wolves and panthers. Brothers, the white men are not friends to the Indians. At first, they only asked for land sufficient for a wigwam. Now nothing will suffice but the whole of our hunting grounds, from rising to setting sun. Brothers, the white men want more than our hunting grounds. They wish to kill our warriors. They would even kill our old men, women, and little ones. Brothers, many winters ago there was no land. The sun did not rise and set, all is darkness. The Great Spirit made all things. He gave the white people a home beyond the great waters. He supplied these grounds with game and gave them to his red children, and he gave them strength and courage to defend them. Brothers, my people wish for peace. The red men all wish for peace. But where the white people are, there is no peace for them, except it be on the bosom of our mother. Brothers, the white men despise and cheat the Indians. They abuse and insult them. They do not think the red men sufficiently good to live. The red men have been many and great injuries. They ought to suffer them no longer. My people will not. They are determined on vengeance. They have taken up a tomahawk, and they will make it fat with blood. They will drink the blood of the white people. Brothers, my people are brave and numerous, but the white people are too strong for them alone. I wish you to take up the tomahawk with them. If we all unite, we will cause the rivers to stain the great waters with their blood. Brothers, if we do not unite with us, they will first destroy us, and then you will fall easy prey to them. They have destroyed many nations of red men because they were not united, because they were not friends with each other. Brothers, the white people send runners amongst us. They wish to make us enemies, that they may sweep over and desolate our hunting grounds like devastating winds or rushing waters. Brothers, our great father over the great waters, the King of England, is angry with the white people, our enemies. He will send his brave warriors against them. He will send us rifles and whatever else we want. He is our friend and we are his children. Brothers, who are the white people that we should fear them? They cannot run fast and are good marks to shoot at. They are only men. Our fathers have killed many of them. We are not women. We will stain the earth red with their blood. Brothers, the Great Spirit is angry with our enemies. He speaks, and the earth will swallow up villages and drink up the Mississippi. The great waters will cover the lowlands. They cannot grow, and the Great Spirit will sweep those who escape up to the hills from the earth with its terrible breath. Brothers, we must be united. We must smoke the same pipe. We must fight each other's battles. And more than all, we must love the Great Spirit. He is for us. He will destroy our enemies, and he will make his red children happy. Tecumseh, Shawnee. That was a very powerful reading from one of the most iconic Indigenous leaders in U.S. history, family. But I ask you, as a modern Indigenous person in 2022, how many of his predictions still ring true today? How about the broken promises of our U.S. government when it comes to treaty rights? The devastating effects that COVID had in our communities, and the fact that our communities still lack running water in some states, family, still lack very much needed medical facilities. We are still calculating the loss of our elders and culture keepers because we did not have adequate resources for our peoples on our reservations. We are still some of the most impoverished communities in the United States, family, and U.S. empire has never taken care of us. So I'm asking you, family, as a real-life Isleta Pueblo superhero, as a person who is fighting alongside other amazing superheroes, yourself included, family, allow us to be and create the change that we need in this world. Allow us to take charge of our own spiritual selves, for us to take charge of our own lives, and to reconnect in a humanizing and loving way our very powerful identities. My Indigenous identity makes me invincible when I'm advocating for our people, family. My pride, my knowledge, my certainty of who I am on a mission from my Gami. It is something to behold, and I am humbled to be chosen and to continue the fight of my ancestors. And I call on you, my dear spiritual family, to join me. Let us redefine what is possible and reclaim this world for our children and our children's children. Thank you so much, family, for joining us this evening. This was Coyote's Lodge, House of Spirituality, Could Erase Theory, Medical Marijuana, our weekly church services, which will be airing on Facebook Live, family, every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. I love you all. Please walk tall, family. Walk proud of who you are, and remember that you are loved and worthy of dignity and respect. Have a good evening, family. I'm off to get trouble somewhere else.